All right. First game out the way, Rams versus Panthers. I'm going to be honest, this was the epitome of a troll game. Honestly, it actually ended up getting kind of cinematic. I'm not even going to cap. It actually ended up getting kind of good. First games. How many games is on? Wait, is there games on Monday? I just thought, Pete, this is supposed to be 6 games. How many games supposed to be on? I just realized this. Hold on. So it was only 2 games today. Always 3 games tomorrow. I didn't even know that. I'm not even gonna lie. So that's interesting. All right, but first game out the way, Rams, Panthers. I'm gonna try to get y'all a weekly little roundup as we keep these going. It's gonna be less games as we go. So 6 games first week, 4 games second week, 2 games, then 1 game. Y'all kind of get that. But we just had the all-pro stuff. First reaction. I'm gonna be honest, as a Patriots fan, with having 14 wins, it's kind of crazy seeing nobody on the first team, and then seeing literally only really 1 person make it on the second team. Pretty interesting. But honestly, thoughts when it comes to these awards, I kind of mentioned this in the award one. They be changing up this criteria year in and year out. I do think the all-pro one is the more consistent one. It's more so about who has the better statistical season. But if that's the case, I don't really see how Gonzo didn't make it. That's the only thing I say. Like, he didn't make it for either team. That's crazy. You pretty much just said he's not a top 6 corner in the league. But we're not going to talk about that too much. We're going to talk about these games. Let's get into it. First game, Rams and the Panthers. Honestly, bro, I already mentioned it. Started off really weird. It ended up being pretty cinematic. And then it had a very anticlimactic ending. Now, first half, Stafford came out hot. Puka came out hot. And you really thought that this was going to be... I mean, before the game even started, I thought this was going to be a blowout, honestly. Regardless of what happened in the regular season, I thought it was going to be a blowout. The issues with the Rams is it was very prevalent today. Defensively, you can take advantage of this team outside of that pass rush. I like Kitchens, but outside of Kitchens and that pass rush, that defense, you can take advantage of those cornerbacks. You can run the ball on them. You can do a lot of things on them if you just have time. Now, I'm going to be honest. Bryce was having to create a lot of time, especially when the injuries came out. I'm going to be honest. As a Panthers fan, you could genuinely say that this game, you could have said, because you lost those 2 guys and Jace Horn and that tackle, that pretty much was the difference in the game. Because last drive, Rams just run down the field, pretty much. They just storm down the field. They just get down the field pretty much with ease. And then that last drive, Bryce just had no time to throw. Now, he really didn't have time to throw for the most part the whole game, especially compared to Stafford. Stafford, he was just sitting back there chilling. You looking at Bryce, he having to do all type of stuff in the pocket, rolling out. And I'm going to be honest, that little spin out he do that pretty much every single time he finna escape the pocket. I don't know how they ain't play for it one time, but hey, it was working. I get to him. But honestly, people going to say that Stafford outplayed Bryce, but I think Bryce... If we being real, Bryce was definitely, in my opinion, the better of the 2, especially in terms of the consistency. Now, at the end of the day, that last drive, that's a Stafford drive, bro. That's what he's been doing since he was at the Lions. Very, very clutch. Another game-winning drive in the playoffs. I really don't understand fully what was going on with the Rams, because even that one drive before this last drive, they struggled with Jace Horn, but I feel like that was more so the penalty kind of killed the drive, more so than anything else. Tay he took a pretty big hit in this game, but he ended up coming back. This was his first game back. It's an interesting game, in my opinion, from my perspective for the Rams. Honestly, offensively, they have the best high-powered offense, but in terms of the consistency, that's always been the issue with this team, in my opinion. And you kind of seen that today. So I don't really know how to really... I think my prediction is looking a little iffy. But if you watch my prediction, I even mentioned in that video that I could see the Panthers giving them a game today, because they did give them a game in the regular season. But this is very concerning, in my opinion, for me to be saying that I think the Rams going to be going to the Super Bowl. Now, Panthers on the other side, honestly... I think Bryce had a pretty solid game for the most part with the situation he was given. My only question is, I think Coker actually had a pretty solid game. Bro, some of them throws that was going to Coker when he was getting those one-on-ones, and I think some of those were one-on-ones because the Rams probably was showing more attention to Tet, which is understandable. But at what point do we just start scheming our game plan towards Tet? Like, this has been the issue with the Panthers I've kind of had all year. They just don't really, it's like the main scheme stuff he will really get is like more so like RPO plays. And I don't think he even gets stoles enough. Bro, Tet is a matchup nightmare for this Rams defense. They don't have a DB that can guard him one-on-one. And I just don't really think that he had enough chances in this game, personally. So, and every single time I seen him get a target, it was one-on-one. Maybe that's because they was shading. Maybe that's because they was doubling. I don't know. But it seemed like they should have just featured him a little bit more, in my opinion. But I thought Bryce was okay. I'm not finna gas it. I thought Bryce was okay. I thought Stafford, first quarter, Stafford looked ridiculous. Bro started like 8 for 8. He was like, at one point, he was like 4 for 20 on his next 20 throws or something like that. And then that last drive, again, like I said, he was phenomenal. So I really don't know what was going on. If you can have that, I don't really think you can expect that Stafford the whole game, what he had in the first quarter. But I also don't think you can expect that Stafford that was in between that first quarter and that last drive for a full game. So, like I said, it's going to come down to how consistent this offense is going to be. That's going to really what's taking them there. I do think this defense is good, but I do think you can take advantage of some parts of this defense. So, we'll see. They end up probably going to be playing the Seahawks next. Depending on how that goes, that is not like the worst matchup for the Rams. We'll see. But all in all, it was a pretty good game. Honestly, it was a lot of trolls. Panthers honestly beat themselves with a lot of things here. Like, at the end of the first half, they had no reason to only be down 3 points. No reason. From the fumble, the punt fumble, to the kickoff right after you score to give them. But for the Rams to not take advantage of either one of those things is the only reason why the Panthers can really say that you could legitimately say as a Panthers fan that they only legitimately lost this game because they tackled, their best O-lineman got injured, and their best DB got injured. That was kind of the difference in the game because they was able to get pressure on Bryce pretty much all second half. And then Jace Horn, the moment he was out, it was just a lot easier for the Rams. So we'll see what if this game is something that teams will use in the future for the Rams to try to just slow this offense down. But all in all, pretty good game. All right. Game 2 out the way, bro. Bears, Packers. Hey, I can't lie, bro. NFL cooking, bro. They are. First half was as good of a game as you possibly could have for the score to be what it was. That game was not 21-3 in the first half at all. If you watch that game, bro, you know it came down to margins. And this game is the epitome of a perfect example of margin for error and how important it is in football, bro. So that game, bro, when it comes to deciding between punting, going for it, deciding between if you can believe in your defense, keep believing in your quarterback. I'm gonna be honest, first half, I honestly was thinking that he put too much faith into Caleb. But I'm gonna keep it being, having that much faith in Caleb, I really do think just gave Caleb that confidence to keep playing. Like, he didn't have a good first half at all. And I be saying this all the time. He was very inconsistent. He'd be very inconsistent. But the throw that he made in the fourth quarter, fourth down, he don't make that throw, they lose the game. He doesn't make that throw, they lose the game. That's one of the best throws I've ever seen. Genuinely. And that's plays like that is why certain players do get overrated, because a lot of people at the end of the day, they don't really look at a lot of these games. And this is kind of why I'm saying Caleb is a really tough guy to rank, because the lows are low, but the highs are crazy high. So honestly, bro, I said this in the past, just tell Caleb in the first quarter, the first play is fourth down, it's fourth quarter, game on the line, let's go out there. I said this last year. He was doing similar things in that little rough stretch of games that they had last year, right? I think it wasn't right on Thanksgiving. It started a little bit before. He had the Vikings, the Lions. I think he might have played the Packers after. He had a really weird stretch where he showcased when they need close games, he can be very good at the end of those games. And he showed that in way more often this year and again today. Now, margin for error. The issue is, now, I'm a Patriots fan. I've seen some crazy chokes. Crazy chokes. I've been on the other end of a lot of comebacks. That might be one of the worst choke jobs I have genuinely ever seen. Now, a lot of people will look at scores and say 28-3, the Mahomes game when he came back almost instantly in the second quarter against the Texans a couple years ago. Bro, the score lines will kind of deceive you because this game was actually wild. This game was 21-3. The Bears were struggling. It really wasn't about moving the ball. They were moving the ball. They were struggling to sustain drives and to score points on drives. Now, the thing is, I would say, I've said this all year. The Bears, you could argue, have the best play calling in the league. But the problem is that comes along with it. They have the best play calling, but the execution has been abysmal. Now, I would give that to the Chiefs still. But this year, you can't even say that the Chiefs had it because they weren't that clutch. It was a rocky year for the Chiefs. I've seen that they pretty much lost almost every game that they played against the 500 teams. So that's just kind of different. The Bears this year, the execution has just not been good this year. And you kind of seen that in this game. The execution, offense, defense. There was a lot of times where they was even trying to lose. You had the little false start at the end of the game. Keep it a bean, though. It still worked out for them. Still worked out for them, bro. And honestly, they just kept playing. Honestly, they didn't give up. This is one of those Naruto games where, like, you just don't give up, bro. You just got to keep believing. And they've been kind of coming back on teams like this all season. Some of them, you could make these remarks about first time they came back against the Packers, J Love not playing. When you think about the game against the Giants, Dart not playing. They've had a couple comebacks where you could question it. This one, in the playoffs, prime time against your rivals, you cannot. You got to give them all the credit. Ben Johnson Ben Johnson, hey. LaFleur, last year I thought LaFleur was the best coach in football. This year, he had a little bit of a rocky year. This game was awful. It was pretty bad to me. And a lot of the plays that J Love was actually making plays on was when he had extra time to throw and people was really just veering off their routes. It really wasn't like they was just scheming guys open all game. It was really they was just veering off their routes early on in the game, and they was having the DBs was just having a guard one-on-one for too long. That's really what it was early on in that game. As soon as that kind of got shored up, they started to get more consistent pressure, not giving them all day to throw. You kind of seen second half, the Packers couldn't really keep sustaining drives. And that's what I'm saying. This was a lot closer of a game than what the scoreline said in the first half. The only reason why I say this choke is crazy is because, bro, this wasn't like a 21-3, they scored 3 straight TDs. 21-3, they score a field goal. Then they struggle a little bit, score a field goal. Then they struggle a little bit, and then we in a close game because they get a touchdown. And now we got the Packers answering back. And then we got the Bears coming back. I'm going to be honest, man. Packers gave the Bears all the opportunities you could say that you could ask for if you're a Bears fan. Bears, you can't really blame your defense for this game, in my opinion, because I think that the defense, second half, played a much better style of football. And even then, they only gave up 4 scoring drives. It just happened to be touchdowns. Now, said all that to say about the coaching. Said all that to say about the coaching on both sides. Quarterback play, much better than the first game between the Panthers and the Rams, but cinema. Both games been cinema. But if you're a Packers fan, yeah, bro. The kicker, man, yeah. Nah, that's literally why you lose. You end up losing at the end of the day because of your kicker. Your kicker missing an extra point and then missing a field goal. I think he might have missed 2 field goals. I could be wrong, but I know he missed the extra point in the field goal at the end of the game. So that was I think he did miss 2 field goals. Nah, your kicker really let you down. Because if he makes all that, you're winning at the end of the game. Regardless of any of this, I'm saying with LaFleur not having the best play calling game thoroughly out. And I'm not saying LaFleur is okay. I think I said LaFleur is bad, like word for word. I'm not saying he is bad. It's just when you're looking at, you know what I'm saying? You know how when they be saying that Chrysler 300 don't look like a Phantom until a Phantom pull up. Like, that's like one of those, like, LaFleur was getting thoroughly outcoached. It was bad, bro. And I ain't even gonna lie to you. The Bears defense had a really good game plan. But I will say, once the closer that the Packers got to the end zone, the harder it became for them to move the ball, which is weird, in my opinion. So, I don't know. Right now, the Bears, I don't know who they play. So, okay, let me do this real quick. So, if the 49ers win, okay, the Eagles play the Bears, they get a rematch. That's what, my prediction's looking good right now. But if the 49ers win, the Bears play the Rams. Ooh, I ain't gonna lie. That might be the game. That I don't know who wins that, honestly, because the Bears don't get a lot of pressure on you, which is what you kinda gotta do to Stafford to throw him off his game. But they do force turnovers. And if the two games that they did lose recently, when you think about the Falcons, the Panthers, they were turning them over. And they was leading directly to points. So that could be an interesting matchup. The reason why I did go with Bears originally is because you could turn the Packers over. It was a lot going on in this game, but this was actually a really good game, man. Can't even lie. So we got more games to go over. Y'all do want more? I ain't even finna do it. I'm finna do an outro like, come on, bro. Let's get you. Come on. Now, I ain't gonna lie, though. The Packers definitely should have won that game. I really can't believe it. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I'm saying they choked up pretty hard, but I could see the choke. Like, you ever just had that feeling? I literally, like, it felt like the Bears was losing, but it never felt like they was genuinely out the game. And that's because the Packers, like I said, they weren't doing anything that was just believable. The first drive the Packers had was really good. It was good play calling, but good execution. After that, the play calling was a little inconsistent. And then, as you see, the play calling, it was more struggle, you know? So, we'll see. We'll see. I'm interested to see what happens when it comes to the Bears if they play the Eagles again. That is a winnable game. Rams is an interesting one, in my opinion. We'll see. All right, so the Bills game just finished. Literally, the Eagles game finna start up right as we speak. But I got to get this out to y'all. Now, Bills game. There's a lot of narratives. This is the stuff that really get annoying. When people have people they don't like, it gets interesting. I'm seeing a lot of stuff. I talked about this in the prediction when it came to Josh Allen. You got the little wild card warrior stuff where he's in a wild card. You got all these people saying there's no Mahomes, there's no Lamar, there's no Burrow in the playoffs. It's Josh Allen, you gotta win. If you don't win, I even seen Ryan Clark say something stupid like, I don't even care if this drop happens, this guy fumbles, I don't care if the defense gives up. It's on you. Bro, I'm gonna keep it a bean, bro. It's ignorance. It's actually peak ignorance. When it comes to Josh Allen, he gets talked about. Before last year, he got talked about as this turnover person. He's not in these conversations with these other guys because he turns the ball over. Regardless of the turnovers, he was in these conversations. He stopped turning the ball over last year. He was the best quarterback in the league. It wasn't even really debatable. This year, he's turned over the ball more than last year. But he still has put out the same kind of output, just not the same amount of touchdowns. And people were questioning why he even got votes for All-Pro. Now, if you want to do it based off of stats, you could argue Josh Allen got better stats than Drake Maye, just like Stafford. They're both wild cards. You're not finna tell me Josh Allen got a better situation than Stafford. You could even argue Josh Allen got a worse situation than Drake Maye. So I'm going to be honest, I don't really get the Josh Allen. I get for his standards, he didn't have as good of a year as last year, but he had just as good of a year as either one of those guys. And then you think about all the games that he came back, all the big games he won. Again, like I said, with all these people saying this little narrative about Lamar not in the playoffs, Burrow not in the playoffs, Mahomes not in the playoffs. What happened in them games when he played those guys? Lamar, one of the craziest performances to end the game we seen all year. And we had a lot of crazy clutch performances all season. Not even gonna lie. Then you got the game against Mahomes. He was pretty much perfect in that game. Then you got the game against the Bengals. Now, I thought he was okay in that game. But that game was more so down to Burrow just not being that great. So are we... No. If he wins that game against... If Lamar wins that game, Lamar makes the playoffs. Like, that last game of the season is not nearly as important. Now, if they lose that last game of the season, I think they still probably miss out, I believe, because I think they would still tie. I think the difference would have been that they would have been able to tie this series somehow. I don't know. But I don't really get how he's getting knocked for beating them in the regular season and making to the playoffs in comparison to those guys losing to him in the regular season and missing the playoffs. It genuinely seems like he's getting more hate for actually doing what an elite quarterback's supposed to be doing. Now, the thing I say is, I'm going to be making a video on this when it comes to this margin for error. I'm going to be talking about this. When it comes to this quarterback play, now more than ever, quarterbacks play is starting to kind of get diminished when you think about how good these schemes can uplift certain guys. When you think about how good some of these teams, in terms of the team building for certain teams, having an elite quarterback is kind of becoming a tad bit overrated. We kind of seen that yesterday in that Bears-Packers game, where Jordan Love was dealing. Second half, the offense slowed down somewhat. Play calling get a little inconsistent. They lose the game. But Jordan Love played as good as you possibly can to be playing in a game you choke a 21-3 lead. I'm not going to lie. But at the end of the day, he got to score more points. He got to keep going. But it's kind of the same thing I'm saying in that box score video. Them stats is kind of deceiving, bro. Second half, the play calling not as good. Jordan Love not playing as good. So I do think there is a correlation there. So I think this game, like I said, going into it with the predictions. By the way, we 3 for 3 so far. Let's just get that out the way. We 3 for 3 so far. The Bills, Jaguars, I told you, the Jags are the hottest team in the league right now. Very, very tough matchup for the Bills, because what do you do against the Bills? You run the ball on them. And what do you do to beat the Bills? You get a pass rush. The Jaguars are built to beat the Bills. They are. I'm not going to lie. This came down to really just Trevor Lawrence, and this is what I was saying with Trevor Lawrence. This is what I was saying with Caleb. Caleb had 2 awful picks yesterday. Trevor Lawrence had 2 awful picks today. They both were in position to still win the game. Now, the Trevor Lawrence second pick is kind of what ruined the game in the chances, but regardless of the mistakes he was making in this game, he still had a chance to win this game, which is crazy. And be honest, all 3 of these games so far have been defensive. Rams, Panthers, teams had 30+ points, but defense really, the game was built off of the defense. If you really paid attention to the game front to back. Early on, Rams was moving the ball first quarter. Second and third, it was very, very much a struggle for them. Jace Horn gets hurt. Fourth quarter, they're able to move the ball again. Same thing with the Rams on the other side. The game was predicated off of getting pressure on Bryce Young. When they weren't getting pressure on him consistently, he was able to deal. When he was getting pressure on him, it was a little bit more of a struggle. Sometimes he was getting out, but at the end of the game, when it mattered most, it was working out for the Rams. Bears, Packers, this was literally head coach, offensive gurus going head to head against each other. But the defenses it was gonna come down to who was gonna get the stops when it mattered most. Bears was getting the stops when it mattered most. Then we had the Bills, Jaguars. Honestly, I went over this in the prediction. When it comes to the Bills, if it's a close game, this is when I'm gonna start trying to go with who I think the better quarterback is. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Caleb a better quarterback than Jordan Love, but I think in the clutch, Caleb is a better quarterback than Jordan Love. Caleb is, in the clutch, you can't argue it. You can't even argue it. You know what I'm saying? And then Matthew Stafford versus Bryce Young, Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence. I think I'm straight on that right now. So, honestly, man, I don't think Josh Allen had a crazy game. This is gonna be one of them games where they do the narrative with the 100 yards performance from Cook, I believe. No, he didn't even have 100 yards. So they won when he didn't have 100 yards. But the reason why that is a thing is because when the way that they play, they're genuinely trying to run the ball. So that's just kind of what it is. So yeah, that's what it is. Bills going to win. Honestly, think that Cohen, he has done a very good job with this Jaguars team. The last 8 games of the season, like I said, going into the playoffs, I thought that was arguably the hottest team in the AFC. They could pull something off, but they ended up just playing the Bills, so I had the Bills. But the Bills aren't the craziest talent, so they could have beat them, but they probably should have if he just doesn't make those mistakes. It's just coming down to making those mistakes at the end of the day. By the way, Parker Washington got hurt in this game, and there's clips of him. I don't know how he gets back into that game. So, but I've mentioned this a couple times. Parker Washington looked really good. Now a lot of people early on in the year, listen to me. Early in the year, I understood the BTJ stuff. The drops was inexcusable. What has happened with BTJ in this streak is the only negative I get of Jaguars because that is their actual fear factor that they have on defense. It's not the running game. Your O-line isn't that crazy. Trevor Lawrence, he was playing very good towards the end, but I wouldn't even say him. It's BTJ. BTJ is a guy that when he's playing and he's on, he's a guy that no defense has a guy that can really just put on him. He's a threat. And him kind of being eliminated from this team, I do think it is a scheme fit issue. I don't think he really fits in this scheme. I do think Jacoby Myers coming to the team is a good fit. Parker Washington is a good fit. BTJ may be a trade piece because that is too much of a talent to be wasted, in my opinion. And I do think the Jaguars could still get a good trade in for him, honestly. So I could see him being a guy that moves and goes somewhere else. But honestly, Jaguars, in my opinion, I don't think this was a rebuild first year. I think if we want to talk about a team that's in the playoffs, it's in a rebuild. I would say the Bears. I would say the Panthers. I would say the Patriots. Honestly, those are the three teams. You could, if I would say the next team, it probably would be the Jaguars, though. Honestly. So, I don't know. It's interesting. I think that y'all in an interesting situation. I mean, the end of this year, you have what you have. You can talk about it how you want. But I think it was very good. Go into the wild card and lose like this at home. You can feel however you want, but I do think it was a pretty big game. So, yeah, that's what I say. And then let's get into this game. The Eagles and the 49ers. Eagles, as we speak, getting victory formation. Let's get into it, man. Now, coming into the year, man, Eagles fans, I gotta be honest with you, bro. Y'all was doing some crazy talks with Hurts, bro. I seen an Eagles fan say he did a quarterback rankings of the players or quarterbacks in the playoffs. He had Jalen Hurts at 1. I heard a stat from, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard, they be saying some random, like, I call it ESPN stat. That's an ESPN stat. Because how do you even know this? How do you even prove this? But apparently the Eagles had the most 3-and-outs in football this year. Now, he might have meant the playoff teams, but that's not the best quarterback in football. Because you can't blame the O-line. You can't say the running back bad. You can't say the wide receiver was bad. People was trying to say the scheme was bad. Defensively, you can't say the defense bad. And usually if you get the most, that means you have a lot of opportunities too. It's not like you going 3-and-out and then the other team on the field the whole game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, though, this game, honestly, I will say, first half, Hurts he came out kind of hot. It kind of was, I'm not going to say it was as hot as Stafford against the Panthers, but it was similar. Now, the thing is that's really damning about this performance, the 49ers defense has been bad in terms of yards. They don't give up a lot of points, but you can move the ball on the 49ers. We've seen it with the Seahawks. They didn't score a lot of points, but they moved the ball consistently. When you seen them play the Bears, they moved up and down the field on them. Like, even the teams like the Titans, a lot of the teams that down the stretch, when they was having that hot stretch before the Seahawks game, you could move the ball on this defense. They have a lot of injuries. Eagles were struggling to even move the ball. And I said this last year, and I said it multiple times this year. Now, after that Lions game, I started to get off that a little bit because the Lions literally didn't even care about guarding Saquon. I said, that is scary if you're an Eagles fan. Y'all won this game, but if teams aren't even starting the game plan for Saquon, that's going to make it 10 times harder to throw the ball. Because when people are playing to stop the run so much, it makes the pass that much easier. Same thing as if you're playing to stop the pass, it makes the run that much easier. But if teams are just playing you straight up, that should make the run easier. And we kind of seen towards the end of the year, Saquon started getting going a little bit. But the pass was still a little inconsistent. And we've seen today, they struggle with it. Now, the thing that's really, I got a question about, this don't got nothing to do with Hurts. Is there a pass rusher issue in the league? And I'm saying this because I've seen multiple teams without O-linemen. The only team that really, I feel like, was really affected by O-linemen being out, even the Bills when they had O-linemen out, the only game they was really affected was that Texans game. The Chargers, the only team I'm really seeing that really was affected. But even at the beginning of the year, the beginning of the year, they was fine until Alt got hurt, and they already was missing the starting left tackle. They moved Alt to left tackle. So you could even say, is there a edge rusher issue? Because I do think it's a lot of teams really depending on blitzes to get pressure consistently, which is cool. But is there an edge rusher issue, or is the O-line play just getting better in the league? Or is the coaching for O-lines getting better? Because, bro, the Eagles playing without Lane Johnson today, I promise you barely could tell. I promise you. So, honestly, first 2 plays of the game, the kickoff, then the play with CMC, I thought, Eagles finna win this. They coming out with the right tone, coming out with the right mentality. The next play. I don't know if it was the next play, but it was either the play that was next or the play after that. Robinson just goes for a crazy play. Now, I feel like he could have got more yards or even a touchdown, but he starts to do a lot of extra stuff. Now, they end up getting a touchdown on that drive. But, honestly, Purdy in this game wasn't that great. That's another thing. Purdy didn't even have that great of a game. Like, outside of even the picks. Like, even the play on that drive, it got tipped in the line, but Purdy was doing some interesting decisions here and there. CMC, run game this year has not been good at all. CMC has not been good in the run game at all this year. But again, what makes CMC out his career, he used to be a ridiculously good runner and receiving back. You could argue he was the best receiving back and a top 5 runner of the ball. He's no longer a top 5 runner of the ball, but that receiving back, he's going to last in his league off of that alone because he's dynamic, bro. He's like a wide receiver. He's like a slot guy out there at running back, bro. Now, the most damning thing about this, Quinyon Mitchell early in the game was struggling. I don't know what was the problem, but he was struggling. Now, another thing why I'm saying Purdy was really questionable with decision making, and this was actually a pick. Bro, 15 was wide open on the right side. He looks straight at him, looks him off, and goes to the other side. Sky Moore, Quinyon Mitchell. And it's hilarious because, bro, Richard Sherman was been ranting about Quinyon Mitchell not getting picks. Like, people can throw at him because he's going to get pass breakups. Like, I don't care what corner it is. Like, you're the number 1 corner versus Sky Moore, though? And he wasn't open at all. I don't know. But, yeah, Quinyon, he didn't have a good game today. So, I don't know, bro. It was a very odd game from both sides. I think it was a really defensive game. And I'm saying Quinyon didn't have a good game for his standards because I think Quinyon top 4 corners in the league. For sure, stamped. I said last year he was top 5. People was fighting me on it. I think he top 4 this year. I think he had a really good year. Was he first team All-Pro in my opinion? I don't think he was a top. I didn't say top 2. Did I? Okay. But, yeah, man. Like I said, bro, this was not... Out of all the games that came down, and this is very surprising. This is probably the worst game so far. Like, the best game so far is definitely that Packers-Bears. Not gonna lie. Like I said, 21-3. It was a lot closer of a game than the scoreline said. A lot closer. All those 4th downs that they failed on, really, like, it would be a lot different of a game in that situation. But you see what happened. Then, after that, I don't know. That second one between the Jags and the Bills and the Rams and the Panthers is tough. That is tough. It's just, bro, the Eagles, you can't say they don't got talent. I don't know, bro. The 49ers dealing with, bro, this game was just set up for the Eagles. They just didn't want me to be perfect on my predictions at that point because even Kittle got injured. I'm looking at Robinson and Jawan Jennings as your best options, receiving options. Kendrick Bourne. He's a New England Patriot turnaround. Like, we literally just let him go for nothing. And I actually like Kendrick Bourne, but, like, you know how bad the Patriots wide receiver court was coming into the season? Hey, I don't know, bro. I don't know. That is one of them bad losses. And I said a couple weeks ago, after that Bears loss, and when they had that Cowboys Bears loss, I'm like, they had a couple rocky wins when you think about that Packers game, that Lions game. Then you blow a 21 lead to the Cowboys. Then you do that on prime time, Black Friday against the Bears. This could be a similar season to what happened the year before last year where they were very good, and then towards the end of the year, it just goes downhill, and in the playoffs, they lose to the Buccaneers in a week 1. Kind of similar, bro. Just not a great Super Bowl caliber team performance, and I said I'm very uneasy about them even when I did my last team tier list. So I really don't think this was more of the 49ers were that good. It was more of the Eagles kind of let themselves down, in my opinion. So, yeah, and bro, like, think about all the things that happened in this game. Brock Purdy throws 2 picks. George Kittle doesn't play, or he gets hurt. He gets carted off. No Nick Bosa, no Fred Warner, and you still lose. No Ayuk, you still lose. Like, this game, bro. And then the thing is, the 49ers couldn't run the ball. The Eagles could run the ball. Tank, whether it was Tank, Bigsby, Saquon, it didn't matter. They was running the ball. I think Hurts was okay running the ball. I thought Hurts actually had a better game running the ball than this. Maybe that's kind of because of tush push. I thought I saw him have like 2 good rushes, but maybe that was more tush push. I honestly thought that this was the Eagles' game to lose, man. I really feel like I got dirty with this prediction. But yeah, now, okay, I guess we 3 for 4. I'm going to keep it a bean. I don't really care too much about any of these games because I'm trying to get this done. We got the game. I'm really waiting off. Now, I ain't going to lie. That Steelers Texans, I don't even got to talk about. All right. Hey, now, listen to me. Hear me and hear me clearly. I was watching that Rams game, Panthers game. I said, hey, they lost to them. I could see it happening. If the Steelers beat the Texans, literally, if there was like a determining factor on who wins that game, 99% of me is saying the Texans. 1%, maybe not even really a full percent saying Steelers. I am so convinced that is already moved. I can pretty much just go ahead and say 49ers move on, Texans move on. You feel me? Now, Patriots, Chargers, man. Very uneasy about this one. Believe in Drake Maye. Believe in Gonzo, but I've said this. I don't think the Patriots have a lot of talent. This is a rebuild, but I do think that we've taken advantage of our schedule. Now, people that say the schedule and all this stuff for all these other things, y'all were the same people saying that we weren't getting above 6 or 8 wins. They won 14 games, game. Like, I don't really like that type of stuff. So, yeah, like, it's just what it is at the end of the day. We'll see. We'll see. We got a game tonight. Let's see it. All right, so the Patriots-Chargers game is at the half, 6-3. I'll be honest. Honestly, both sides, I feel like the Maye pick, nothing he could have did on that. He could have probably put more on that. If he puts more on that, who knows? I feel like Hooper could have did more to get the ball. Bro, 10 yards behind him, coming and getting that ball before he can even I don't even expect him to catch it. Just to bat the ball, make a play on the ball. He just literally stands there and watches Derwin to see if he catches it. He doesn't. And then somebody that's 10 yards behind him come and get it before he even makes a move on the ball. That's crazy to me. Now, first half, the Patriots catching everything in the regular season. It's looking like the gimmick is over. We had some crazy drops. The play calling, honestly, first half been better than it been in regular season. Still could be better, in my opinion. Drake Maye, I think that the Chargers are giving him a lot of respect in this game, and it honestly makes a lot of sense to me. I'm actually take the Texans off. But I'm not even going to talk too much about this game. I think that so far, Herbert has kind of let his team down. Your team gets that turnover, like I said. Whoever fault you want to blame it on, got to lead that with points. Now, should they have taken field goal? This looked like this is going to be a low-scoring game, honestly. I don't know how much of a scoring game it's going to be. And if it does come down to that, I think the Patriots got to get pressure. The Patriots not getting a lot of pressure on the Chargers is scaring me right now. Because that could mean that we end up losing. Because they're getting no pressure on a team that has really a bad O-line. And they are getting pressure on us consistently, which is kind of scaring me. Now, let's talk about some things I may have forgotten in some of these games. Bills, Jaguars. The main reason I said the Jaguars had a chance to beat the Bills, not only because they're the hottest team in the league, but because the matchup issues. I even talked about it earlier. I didn't even realize watching that game that they only ran the ball 14 times. I didn't even realize that. So, that is just a clear bad coaching decision. I think that's 2 things that he probably got wrong this year. Running the ball more in this game. This is the team that you should have ran on more. And when you ran, it worked. So it doesn't really make sense to abandon the run. And the BTJ dilemma. Now, I do think, like I said earlier, if he don't fit your scheme, move him. You can still get something for him now. You wait too long, you ain't going to get as much. It's simple as that. But the Eagles 49ers, it's not really much to say there. It's not really much to say on any of these other games. Let's just get to the second half. Not going to do no more of these. It's just, you know, the Patriots. It's been a very interesting game. Oh, let's talk about the little flag, I guess. Now, the little QB sneak. Oh, no, it was a lot that actually happened. You got the play where he's wrapped up by 2 people. Now, I'm all cool with that stuff when I'm neutral. But when I'm a Patriots fan watching that, I'm not gonna lie. If bro is wrapped up by 2 people and it's a QB, I've seen the play be blown multiple times. That's why sometimes when I see people gas quarterbacks breaking out of sacks, sometimes that don't really do much for me because I know there's so many things you can't do to a quarterback. For instance, when Milton Williams, he puts his hand up, kind of how the boy, when Drake Maye puts his hand up to bat the ball. But the thing is, everything happens so fast on the Milton Williams play. Herbert literally runs directly into it. Herbert doesn't see Milton Williams trying to put his hand up to stop him from making a throw there. And it ends up going straight into his head. I'm going to be honest. When I'm thinking of illegal hands to the face, I'm thinking of hands to the face, grabbing face mask. If I see a whole under elbow forearm hitting the person's top of his helmet, and we trying to say that's a flag, I'm going to be honest, bro. What in the hell do we do defensively, bro? Like, we got a time where it's two people wrapping up on him, and he's doing a ball straight into the ground, but it's not intentional grounding because it's a running back within the vicinity. But also, you can't even you can't remotely touch the helmet. I don't know what you, like, bro, he inadvertently hit his helmet. Inadvertently. I already don't even like the face mask sometimes because, I'm going to be honest, the face mask, when you're grabbing the face mask, that's egregious because if you play football, you know to go low. Wrap up. Why the hell are you ever reaching high? That makes more sense. So if you want to say that for that situation, okay, but if you're getting blocked and you're trying to bat the ball down, you're going to reach high. You're not trying to tackle. So I don't know in that instance. I don't know what these defenders are supposed to do in some of these because some of these rules are so anti-defense, it's actually tough. But after that, Herbert pretty much gives us 2 sacks. Because like I said, he ran into that. This next play, he ran into another sack. So he kind of bailed us out there. Drake Maye, he bails us out at the end of the half with a big run. They played a crazy, extremely safe defense so that we don't get a touchdown. Really wish we could have got a touchdown before half. But let's get into the second half, man. All right, man. End of the game. We're going to have... I ain't going to lie, though. Hold on, though. That's 5. Oh, no. That's 4 for 5 so far. And the last one is the auto one. I told y'all last year I got these right except for one Mickey one. Hey, bro. Hey. Shout out to Jalen Hurts. They had everything go their way to win that game, and they still lost. That ain't my fault. So I low-key am 5 for 5, but you know what I'm saying. They just beat themselves at a certain point. But, hey, let's talk about it. Now, talked about it at half. I told y'all first half. Drake Maye, he could be better. You know what I'm saying? The turnovers. He turns the ball over again second half. The first. Okay, I don't think he actually. Did he lose? No, he didn't lose the ball in the second fumble. I'm going to be honest, man. I know I predicted the Patriots to win, but I didn't expect the D-line to really beat our O-line up like that. Because our O-line, like I said before this game, is there like an O-line resurgence? Because, bro, there was games where we was missing our left tackle, our right tackle, and we was playing with our third string left tackle, by the way. And we was blocking better than we did tonight. Now, this is one of the, like, when we talk about these week schedule stuff, this is one of the better defenses we played this year. If you be watching my tier list, I had the Chargers and Broncos same tier for the most part. Honestly, though, I think that offensively, we left a lot of points on the board. We was able to move the ball consistently. It really wasn't them stopping us most part. We had like 2 or 3 and outs that we kind of, it was really, the 3 and outs wasn't really their defense. It was really play call. But that last 3 and out, the second down was the play call. The third down, can't blame the play call. O-line, what the hell are we doing there? Why is there 3 players, 3rd and 6, in my quarterback's face instantly? He evades one and is pancaked instantly. Now, the thing is with Drake Maye, I don't even know what to really tell him on some of these fumbles because he has small hands. So apparently when you have small hands as a quarterback, it's easier to fumble. And it makes sense. But we got to do something about this. Because if we play the Steelers again and I see 5 turnovers, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind. But if we play the Texans, I ain't even tripping on the turnovers because that's expected. That's a good defense. If we score 20 points on the Texans, I'm expecting to win. I'm going to keep it being defense. The way y'all play, defense. This is what I was saying. Early on in the year, Drake Maye was fantastic. First 8 weeks. Then we started playing that little patch of games where it was shakeable games. You had the Falcons. You had the Bucks. You even had the Bills. Defense was huge in those games. I thought that Vrabel was huge. He started, as soon as Drake Maye started to teeter off a little bit, getting a little bit shakier, not really inconsistent, because he's the most efficient quarterback in the league this year. That's his case. Even with any of this stuff that you want to say about the talent around him, and you can kind of see it today. Like, the Patriots was dropping. In the regular season, one thing I would say is we had a gimmick this year where everybody was really able to catch everything. The only reason why Drake Maye had such a high completion percentage, it's not like we dinking and dumping. He leads the league in completion percentage and yards per attempt. That don't usually happen because usually when you throwing the ball further, those are tougher catches. He's just very accurate with the ball. But we also catch everything. Now, it's not really like we do a lot of 50-50 jump balls or nothing. So I won't say that, but it's not like people are wide open down the field either. So you kind of seen that today. We was dropping the ball more, and this is why I be saying multiple times, like, people will be talking about Diggs. I seen PFF. Diggs is the top 5 wide receiver based off PFF. Diggs ain't even a top 2 wide receiver of the Patriots. So how that's possible? I watch every Patriots game. I like Diggs, but outside of really 3 games this year, he wasn't that good, in my opinion. Mac Hollins, more important. Booty has been our best wide receiver. So that's the topic for another day. Let's get into the Chargers, man. Now, last year, when y'all played the Texans, I had a lot to say, bro. I was a big Herbert guy going into that game because it's like the talent. He was the most. I would used to say all the time, he's the most talented quarterback I've ever seen in my life. In my life. Arm ridiculous. Running up, and he's showing the running ability more than ever this year. He had a crazy start to the year. As soon as the O-line started to deteriorate, it got worse. This was one of those games, bro. I don't think it was as bad as last year, but he got to be a lot better than that. He got to be a lot better. And I'm not going to be one of them people that blame everything on Herbert, because I don't think it's all on Herbert, because I think the OC was awful. First half, we doing 5 plays to the fullback. I don't even think the play calling after they got that turnover was even that bad. Like, nothing was open. That was great defense. But the throw on that on 4th down could have been better. Now, you targeting Gonzo, that's just not a great idea. Now, you seen on that last drive by the Chargers, it was a lot easier to pass the ball even when we sent pressure when Gonzo went out the game. Now, I know that, like, bro, you seen how much we blitzed when Gonzo went out the game? If we do that more against any of these teams we play, we got a chance to beat any of these guys. I think the Bills is the toughest matchup for us. I think the Texans is the best team remaining. But I think the Bills the toughest matchup because I think they're more guaranteed to score a lot of points. I think the Texans are the best team remaining because their defense is that good. In the AFC. NFC is a whole different story. I'm not even worried about that, to be honest. Like I said, y'all see my prediction. So, Patriots, it is what it is. Honestly, Chargers, y'all may, similar to what I be saying with the Bears and their quarterback curse, y'all may just have a playoff curse. Because this been going on for years. Like, for years. This is not new. Like, Herbert is, go look at Phillip Rivers' history in the playoffs. This is not new. LaDainian Tomlinson, like, go look. Yeah, they used to have a crazy talented teams. Every year. Couldn't do nothing in the playoffs. They low-key like the AFC Cowboys, low-key. Not gonna lie. So, yeah, the throw by Drake Maye on the touchdown, bro, that perfection. Perfection. And that's the thing, what I'm saying, like, Drake Maye today, I don't think he had a good game at all. By his standards at all. But the throw, like, he's gonna have a play. He's gonna have a play in the game where it's gonna be the difference. Now, sometimes it can be good. Sometimes it's gonna be bad. He's gonna make a play though at the end of the day, and that's really, they was putting the ball in my quarterback hands a lot, and I was actually appreciative of that from McDaniels. So I'll be talking about McDaniels. That was actually a pretty solid job today, honestly. Hendo had a really bad game. This is one of for the people that's fantasy gurus, for the people that's concerned about why he wasn't play, this is the perfect example. He had a good run at the end of the game, but for the most part, it was a 1-yard specialist. Baby Henry, or Ramondre Stevenson, was just much more consistent, which is what we need. We don't need 1-yard plays and then that random 60-yard play. We need consistent rushing yards so that we can actually run the ball when we're up like this and run the clock. They were scared to literally run the ball because we're not a good running team. Baby Henry was fantastic in this game, though. So, yeah. And by the way, Chargers supposedly having a bad O-line going into this. Bro, the Pats O-line, this is the worst performance I've seen from them all season when they finally played a good D-line. So, that's kind of scary, honestly, because they most likely playing the Texans next, I seen. That is going to be a very bad matchup for O-line, looking at how bad they played today. But we seen Drake Maye was able to make plays regardless of it, but they also was able to make plays on him because of it. So we'll see. The margin for error today for Drake Maye was huge, but also the margin for error the defense had today wasn't that big. So hopefully we can play two-sided football next game. But hey, our win is a win. MVP or not, I don't give a damn about none of that. Like I said in the award video, I don't give a damn about that. As long as they winning in the playoffs, I don't care. And I look at the Patriots as a rebuild. So anything I get from here, I take it, man. People was talking crazy. Hey, them Chargers fans was talking crazy. We got one more game. We gonna do our little video recap. But yeah, y'all know what it is. All right. I'm gonna keep the beam, man. I was very happy after that Patriots game. And this is where it comes down to. A lot of people just be fans of players. I'm a big Drake Maye guy. He didn't have a great game last night. It was probably his worst game of the season. I don't care at all. I'm not even scared of it because it's Drake Maye at the end of the day. I believed in him before he was even drafted. And we just luckily got him. You know what I'm saying at this point? I don't care. I was very happy. But that Texans game. It's not even the fact that the Texans played good. And I've been saying, all you got to do is score 20 points, in my opinion, to beat them. And I think the Steelers showcased that perfectly. That's a tough 20 points to score, bro. hey, bro. Hey, that is a tough 20 points. I want you to understand what happened in this game. Bro, this game couldn't have gone any worse for my hope, my delusion. Like, I try not to have bias when I do this. But it couldn't have gone any worse. We're going to predict this next round, by the way. Bro, the Texans defense were so good in this game. Bro, and a lot of it don't even just be scheme. But the scheme and play calling is getting better, which is scaring me as well. But the talent is ridiculous. CJ Stroud was off. Bro, he probably played legitimately as bad as he possibly could. The first fumble is low-key on him, but at the same time, what the hell are we calling a flea flicker for if we know we have a struggling O-line? And by the way, Steelers, hey, and we're going to have to come talk to you in the offseason because you guys do not need 5 good edge rushers. You don't need that. I promise you don't. So we're going to have to come over there and talk to you in the offseason because we need one. Just give us one, bro, please. And I'm seeing people talking about Herbert was pressured 30 times on 40. Did anybody watch this game besides me? If they didn't blitz, the brother had all day. Now, it's not, bro. There has to be like some type of like time to where shit don't count as a pressure at a certain point. Bro was holding the ball all day, damn near the whole game until we start blitzing. And that was the whole game. When we put pressure on him, he was fantastic. They even showed a stat at one point in the game. When we don't send pressure, he was 10 for 11. When we sent extra guy, he was like 1 for 6 with a pick or something like that. Or a fumble. I don't remember. Bro, I don't know what it is, bro. These stats be pissing me off because I know there'd be like, it's always context that just get thrown out the damn way. But hey, shout out to our coach. Hey, we already talked about that. Texans, though, they can send 3 and damn near get pressure. Like when they come to the point where you really like you understand how good of a D line you going against, you trying to do a screen and Will Anderson completely locks it up by himself. Like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. It's like it's going beyond scheme and play calling. Like a lot of these defenses in the league are good off of scheme and play calling. The Texans defense is legitimately stars everywhere. Like, it's crazy, bro. Bro, I'm talking about, bro, the first play from Stroud, it wasn't even as bad. The second play, bro, I was streaming watching this game, bro. Live reactions. Bro, he fumbles the snap. Strike one. Strike one. Now, he freaks out because the snap is fumbled. Solid pocket. It is breaking down. He steps up. He steps up. I'm not going to give him a strike there because the pocket is low-key breaking down. I had to rewatch it. It was breaking down. Now, he tries to get rid of the ball. Okay. It's like he realized something, tries to not get rid of the ball while trying to get rid of the ball, while also getting hit. Now we in this position where it's a fumble. I'm gonna keep it a beam, bro. Stroud just did not have a good game. I'm not gonna go too crazy on him. I was going to, but I'm not gonna go too crazy on him. Honestly, bro. I beat the defending Stroud this year. Last year, he wasn't good, in my opinion. I was saying Bryce Young was better last year. If we compare the two in these playoffs, Bryce Young had a better game. You could even argue Bryce Young might have played a better defense as well. I do think Steelers have more talent, though. But, honestly, I thought after that one drive where the Steelers went down the field, I thought that the Steelers had some ways. They was getting into the red zone, and then second half, it just nothing. Fourth quarter, it was nothing. And this is, in that A-Rod or that Cam Newton video, bro was talking about, he was contemplating A-Rod being an elite top tier 1 quarterback. Like, okay, yeah, 2021 was A-Rod one of the best quarterbacks ever. 2011, 2013. Nigga, we are in 2026. What the hell does his resume have to do with right now, today? That's a bar! That's a bar! Hey, hold on now. Hold on now. He cooking. Nah, he cooking, but nah, I'm telling you, the reason why this game really threw me off is because, bro, you a Patriots fan watching this game. Margin for error. And I'll talk about it. Margin for error. That defense tonight had literally no margin for error. They said, forget a margin for error. We don't care about that. We gonna actually score points for our offense. Twice. And this is crazy because the first year he made the playoffs, Stroud, when they played the Browns, they did something similar. So maybe it's something they got against like these old quarterbacks. I ain't gonna lie. But hey, that Texas defense is real. I might gotta push back on some of the stuff I was saying because that defense, like I said, scariest team to play in the AFC right now. I do think matchups do matter, and depending on how many points, if the Patriots not gifting points, and honestly, I was getting a little scared because the Steelers, bro, what was going on with the Texans against the Steelers team was the same thing that happened when the Patriots played the Steelers. It was just turnovers galore. I think that you can run on this defense. That's gonna be the key. If we can run on them, okay. It ain't gonna lie. Hendo had a really bad game against the Chargers. Them 1 yard wrongs, we may need to calm it down, but we need, if he can give us one free touchdown, that could go a long way in this game. I ain't gonna lie. That could be huge in this game. I don't know if I want to do methodical drives to this game, Drake Maye. I'm gonna keep it a beam. I just need, give me one play. Give me one play. I think if we can get 20 plus points. But the thing is, you can't beat them if you're giving up. You're giving them points. You can't. Like, your turnovers cannot lead directly to points. You cannot instantly have a turnover that gives, like, is a touchdown. Like a pick six, a fumble six. You can't have none of that. You can't have that. You genuinely cannot have that. And, oh, bro, the thing that also scares me, the O-line was awful against the Chargers. I seen that PFF graded Will Campbell the best. I don't know what game they was watching. And I seen that, I don't know who it was. It David Andrews on Twitter. He said that was a play because apparently on the other side we did a chop block. Okay, that's not on the O-line fault. What the hell are we calling on 3rd down and 6 where we got both our tackles doing chop blocks? What are we calling? Get that play out the playbook. Game on the line. Bro, we was in a situation to end the game. A sack literally trolls. Literally, bro, 3rd and 6 in that situation, you cannot take a sack. We can't get sacked. They literally do a chop block play, and there's not only a person up the middle instantly, but because we have both our tackles doing chop blocks, he avoids the person up the middle. The people literally from the sides, because both his tackles trying to chop block, is literally instant sack. What the hell are we doing? So somebody gotta pay for that. Ignorance, extreme ignorance, just extreme. We cannot be doing none of that. Now, I won't lie, the trick plays may gotta come out because we're gonna have to break this defense down some way, somehow. So we tried to do a little end around, throw to Drake Maye. I ain't gonna lie, Drake Maye had the right thing in mind. Don't even try to go for the touchdown, just go for the 1st down, bro. Miss it. Now it didn't matter because we went for it on 4th down and we got it. But the Drake Maye throw where he threw to Henry, we can't be missing that this game. Not Henry. I think that was Hooper in the end zone. We can't be missing that. Apparently, it was a miscommunication thing where he technically didn't miss it. I don't care what it is. Whether it's Drake Maye missing him or he wanted him to keep going up and he was finna go out. I don't know what it is. We can't have that. We got to take advantage of every touchdown possible. I don't know if field goal is going to win this game. Because I ain't going to lie. We may only have 3 to 4 scoring drives in this game. That might got to be 2 of those be touchdowns. So, I'm very scared of that. Now, let's go back over here. Enough of this Steelers-Texans game, bro. Like I said, bro. The Panthers should not even be in the playoffs with that record. I had more faith in the Texans beating the Steelers than I had in the Rams beating the Panthers. But, hey, all in all, y'all see it. Come on, bro. Hey, who else getting it this accurate? Come on. Now, moving on into the next round, we got the 49ers in the Seahawks. The issue is the Seahawks left a lot of points on the board last game, but in them 2-minute warnings at the end of both halves, the 49ers had a lot of opportunity. Sam Darnold in big games is not very trustworthy in my experience, but JSN is inevitable. He is unguardable. So that is a very, very tough conundrum. You can run on them. The Seahawks want to run the ball. They're going to force running the ball, but they don't really have a good running game. This might be the game where they can actually have a good running game like they did in the first game. If they're able to run like that, like they did in the first game, that's going to be big. But then we also have another big problem. Fred Warner's coming back. Now, I've had these in press when I'm like, Fred Warner is literally one of the best players in the sport. But majority of these seasons, I can't rank him that high because majority of the season he plays injured. He's coming back from an injury. Is he 100% Fred Warner? Probably not. So we're not going to be getting that top-end marquee Fred Warner. And he's more, in my opinion, he's better in the passing game anyway than he is in the run. So that's a tough situation, in my opinion, to compare. But that game against the Seahawks the first time was margins. And I think that this coach is very good coach defensively, offensively, very good coach. But he got thoroughly, bro, like I said, Shanahan got thoroughly out-coached. Could this be a situation where meeting them a third time is going to go into the hands of Shanahan? That is probably the game of this round. Then we have the Rams and the Bears. Now, the Bears, this is the thing. I think to beat Stafford, you got to put pressure on him. How likely are the Bears to put pressure on Stafford? It's gonna be a similar game to how the Chargers was with the Patriots. If they just sit in 4 majority of the game, they're not gonna get much pressure. He's gonna be able to sit back there all day, kind of like what happened against the Panthers. But when the Panthers started putting pressure on him, he got inconsistent in that second and third quarter. Then once they stopped first quarter and fourth, he was undeniable. And the thing is, that second and third quarter wasn't all just Stafford, by the way. Tay dropped some balls, Puka dropped some balls. That Bears defense can be taken advantage of, in my opinion. We seen that with the Packers. The Packers ain't got nothing close to a Puka, Nacua, or a Tay Adams, or a McVay. Because LaFleur, like I said, that game was not good. So, in my opinion, this is just too much firepower, in my opinion. And I do think another thing that I haven't even spoken on is when it comes to playing Caleb, if you blitz, send pressure, more times than not, he gonna start messing up and stuff like that. And mistakes. Like if he has 2 picks in this game like he had against the Packers, that's gonna be the difference in the game. Because the Rams can actually run the ball. You know what I'm saying? They can actually run the ball consistently. I think the Packers want to run the ball, but they don't have a run game that's consistent, in my opinion. They want to, but it's not. So, I'm going to go Rams there. But, like I said, earlier in this, or the other prediction, the Bears have been very, very, very good. And they are talented. Coaching on both sides is fantastic. It just comes down to the execution, in my opinion. But I do think the edge issue for the Bears is the thing that's going to probably kill them against the Rams. We're going to go over here. We got the Bills and the Broncos. Now, the thing is, they played last year. It comes down to how you feel about that defense last year compared to this year. I think the Broncos defense last year was low-key better than it has been this year. I don't know why. Just watching them, it just don't seem like that. The Broncos defense is that same tier as the Texans. I always thought it was the Texans, Seahawks, and Browns. I had the Broncos in that tier with like guys like the Chargers, the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? Where they're still that top 10, you know what I'm saying? But they just wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like Texans fighting for the best in the league, in my opinion. But the thing is, I think the Broncos scheme and talent is up there. Just the consistency level hasn't been there this year. Like people have been able to put points up on them. Now, on the other side, when their defense actually does play good for some reason, it feels like the Broncos offense don't really have the best games. But when the Broncos offense don't play that well, it seems like the defense has really good games. It's just they don't really play complete football. So if this game goes any way the way it did last year, and I also do think the Bills are just more built to withstand teams like the Broncos this year in the playoffs, because you can't really pass the ball in the Bills consistently. It's just gonna be rough. They can, like, McDermott is a very good coach. He has his flaws, but the thing is, he's gonna get the most out of his defense. They actually have been giving him talent these past couple years, and they kind of solidified that a lot better this year in the offseason with the draft. So I think that the Bills could be fine in this game, personally, against the Broncos, because at the end of the day, the Broncos have to score enough points. I don't know if they're going to, like, it's another one of those situations. If the Bills score 25, 24 points, they can win this game, in my opinion. If it's going to be kind of similar to that Jags game. If they can score around 27 points, I don't even think you have to get 30. I really think 21 to 27 is a good point. I think they straight. Now, if they have to score more than that, Broncos probably win that game. If the Broncos can move the ball on them consistently, score points, I probably got the Broncos. But that's a big if. I just don't see Bo Nix doing that personally right now. He's too inconsistent. But the thing is, he's so inconsistent, he damn near would do it. So I don't know. That's what this one got a lot of variables, the Broncos. Because if Bo Nix is playing the way he can, the Bills would probably lose. That's the thing with the Broncos. The Broncos can score points. It's just they don't do it consistently. They definitely can, though. And it's not like they got like stars, but they got weapons on the outside too. So I'm not gonna put it past them. If the Bills try to play that defense, the Broncos will try to take shots. And that's where it's coming down to Bo Nix. Bo Nix is very shaky when it comes to them deep throws. If he's on it, it could be really rocky for the Bills. The thing is, when it comes to guys like Pat Surtain, I don't think he was the best cornerback in the league last year. He won DPOY. I think he was better this year than he was last year. He didn't even make All-Pro first team. So, me personally, I don't really get how these awards work. I'm not going to get into that. I think Surtain, he's been very impressive. The thing is, it's kind of similar to last year when they played in the playoffs. Who the hell does he guard? That goes in the Bills' favor. They don't have a main guy. Their main guy is James Cook. And even in the passing game, he's not a focal point. So, it's going to be interesting in my opinion. I'm going to go Bills, though. We're going to go back. Seahawks, 49ers. I got to make a decision. My heart, not doing the gimmick. I want to say it's the Seahawks, but I do think the playoff experience. But George Kittle being out may be the difference. Actually, yeah, I'm going to go Seahawks. George Kittle being out is going to be the difference for me, personally. I had the Seahawks and the Rams as the two best teams in the league for a little minute. 49ers getting healthier toward the end of the season kind of did make it a little shakier for me. That last game of the season made it a little bit easier for me to try to say. And I don't think Brock had a good game against the Eagles. So if Brock is shaky against the Seahawks, that could be the difference. Not Titans. I keep wanting to call the Texans Titans for whatever reason. But the Texans and the Patriots. I predicted the Patriots to lose. But something is telling me. Now, the thing is, when I first did the predictions, that defense performance against the Chargers was by far, not even close, the best performance. Now, the thing that's actually making this a big question mark, the two X factors of this entire game, Nico Collins and Christian Gonzalez. Now, Christian Gonzalez, he played another snap after his concussion, and they had to bring him off. They had to go from upstairs and bring him off. So I think it is more likely for him to be cleared by the game than Nico Collins. But it did take him a little second to get up. But Nico Collins, he pretty much concussed himself and got carted off. So if one of those play, that could sway the entire game. If Gonzo doesn't play, though, I got the Texans. Regardless of if Nico plays. I ain't gonna lie. But if Gonzo plays, Nico doesn't play, I've got the Patriots. But if Nico plays and Gonzo plays, that's tough. That's tough. That's tough. That's actually a tough one. It really does come down to, is the play calling I seen against the Chargers real or fake? They have similar issues as the Texans they have similar styles of play defensively with similar issues offensively, with a worse run game and a worse O-line. I don't think Drake Maye is going to play that bad 2 times in a row. Hey, bro. I tell y'all right now, bro. I try not to be biased in these, but sometimes the truth got to come to the light. Hey, I'm going with the Patriots, man. Hey, that's the predictions. That's the recaps. Y'all do want more? Like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. We out of here.
Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah!